Hi everyone, I'm here to talk to you about tips for parents for children with math disabilities. Over the last 3 decades, the number of students with math disabilities has been steadily increasing. As of right now, approximately 6 to 8% of students have what's considered a severe difficulty with math processing. For parents of students with such difficulties, it is important for you to know that not all learning takes place in the classroom setting. It is essential to be an involved parent even while you're at home. There are many ways that you can help your child with math, even if it's just sitting together at the kitchen table. Although these ideas are helpful at home, these tips can help and be used by teachers in the classroom as well. Here are a few simple ways to help your child with math at home. Also, since budgets are tight in most homes, these examples are all easily found and inexpensive to make or buy. My first and most important lesson for parents is to be patient and supportive of your child. Math disabilities affect people in different ways and can span across your child's life. He may have difficulties socially, such as bullying by peers, or he may have a low self-esteem or even depression. Make sure to encourage your child and ask him about his feelings. Ask him what he likes about math or what he thinks helps him and what doesn't. It is important that he knows that you want to help him learn in ways that he feels works for him. You could even relate stories to him about yourself or even stars such as Albert Einstein overcoming challenges with math. Explain that you once had a problem learning, but you were able to overcome it with time and practice. Next would be to make sure to keep an open means of communication with your child and his teachers. This will help you to improve upon teaching methods being used in a classroom, and it'll help you to stay consistent between school and home. Being inconsistent in teaching methods can confuse a child, especially if they are already suffering from math difficulties. For talking with teachers, you can use simple notepads like these that you can find at any dollar store. These can prove to be a method of documentation over time to see what has worked and what hasn't. When it comes down to actually teaching the math concepts to your child, here are some simple and helpful ideas. Relate your problems to your child and his interests. This keeps his attention and gives him a little bit better of an insight on the problems being worked on. If the problem asks, what is 4 plus 2, you could say that Johnny, your son, has 4 trading cards, and his friend Joey gives him 2 more. How many cards does Johnny have now? Depending on your child's interests, you could use trains, dolls, candies, soccer balls, movies, or anything else that your child may be interested in. Another way to help, specifically with focusing on one problem at a time, would be to make and use a cover-up. Take a regular sheet of paper, like this, and cut out just one small square. Then you would lay this over the worksheet, or the piece of paper that you're working on, so that only one problem can show through the square at the time. This way, they can only focus on one question, rather than how many they still have to do, or how many they have right or wrong. This could be particularly helpful when working with a student with dyscalculia or the mixing up of numbers. Last, but certainly not least, is to use manipulatives. Manipulatives help to give the student something to touch and organize to fit the problems. One idea is flashcards. Try to use bold colors and big writing. You could even leave hints and dots or things to count on the back for when they get stumped. Here's some of my examples. You can write out a note card like this that shows the entire problem. And I even drew the dots on here to allow them to count them. Or you could do take cards such as this and do 7 plus 3. On the back of each of these cards I have that number of stars written on so that they can count them. And by putting the symbol, such as the plus sign or the division sign, on separate cards, you can change the problem easily, such as 10 divided by 2. Next, another idea would be to use a deck of cards. These are easy to come by and they're extremely inexpensive. You can use these for nearly any basic math skills such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, or even greater than, less than, and I'm sure there's many other ways as well. For teaching greater than, less than, you can easily see that 9 has more dots than 3 does. You could even use a game of war to help reinforce the learning. And the same goes for math. You can add the 9 plus 3, and because there's the symbols on each card, they can easily count out the problem. Same with subtraction. Again, they can easily subtract 3 from 9. For that, they can even take the 3 and flip it over and then cover up 3 of the spades showing to be able to count that there's only 6 left. For multiplication, this is where I think the cards would be helpful. You can do 3 times 3 equals 9, or you could break it up and say that there are 3 sets of 3, and now they can easily count out that there are 9. Again, using an encouraging reinforcer will help to keep the child's interest and hopefully to get them through the problems. You could use a card game as such enforcement. Give the child a goal, maybe 10 problems, and have them work on those problems. Once the goal is reached, then you can play a card game. Dominoes can be used in a similar manner. They can be used, I would think, for most basic math skills, and these are really easy for greater than, less than. You can see that this side obviously has more than this. And again, they have the dots that make it easier to count. With this, you too can play a game as motivation. Another easy manipulative to find and use are things like pennies or other coins. With pennies, they can easily group them into little sets that work for the problem that they're working on. And considering reinforcements are so important, at the end of the set goal that you work together on, maybe you could even give the child the pennies to keep. My last manipulative to show you is one of the best in my opinion. I'm using jelly beans. Again, this full tub was only $3.50. Again, with this you can let your child hold the jelly beans in their hands or to set them out into groups, and makes it easier for them to visualize the problem. After working on the problems, allow your child to eat some of the jelly beans as a snack and a reward for their hard work. You could also use M&Ms or Skittles, or if you prefer a healthier option, you could use grapes or raisins. In conclusion, the most important factor in helping your child is to be patient and to love your child for who he is. Remember that the disability is not his fault. It's nobody's fault. By being supportive and encouraging of your child, he can overcome the challenge. Also, by using some of the inexpensive tips that I have given to you today, your child may not only learn the desired math skills, but he may even find it fun and worthwhile to participate in his mathematical lessons.